everyone. A very warm welcome to all the students out here. I'm so glad to see all of you all right here. Today is a holiday, but all of you all have joined in, which just shows your commitment, your enthusiasm to be a part of it. If you all can hear me, just put a thumbs up in the chat so I know you can hear me. Since you are so many of you all joining in from different parts of the world, we've already onboarded this year more than 1,10,000 children who will be benefiting from the course. Thank you for all the thumbs ups that are coming in. So good to see all of you. We're going to be a little mindful of the chat and its usage, right? Because we don't want to misuse this or cause it as a distraction. But over the next 40 minutes maximum, I'm going to give you a deep dive into a lot of fun innovation frameworks, as well as also handhold you into how the Innoventure process happens. And for all of you, especially the parents who are joining in, if you're unaware about what is the process, what does it mean, how do we prepare our children, what is the end goal, what is the outcome, this session is all about that. So let me welcome and introduce all of you, all the children from different parts of India joining in. Okay, perfectly. So I'm Pranjal Gandesha, and I am the founder of Innoventure and the managing trustee of Innoventure World Foundation, which organizes and hosts Innoventure, which is India's largest ideation and entrepreneurship challenge for school children and initiative. This is the 13th edition of the initiative, and it's only grown in strength and impact, and the kind of results we have seen children creating out of this has only strengthened our belief. So what is Innoventure all about, and why are we really even doing this initiative, right? And what value does innovation in today's times hold for, if you're a parents listening here, hold for your children? And if you're a children listening here, how is it relevant for you, right? Is it just another subject? Is it just another competition? Is it just another activity, a project, a course that the school is asking to complete? No. So 13 years ago, when we started this, it was way beyond the current NEP 2020 was buzzword, where innovation was talked about in schools and design thinking was talked about in schools. We realized something very, very important. And let me tell you a story about this from my own life. I completed my computer engineering. And when we had the placement rounds where companies come to hire you, I realized that so many of my friends who were even toppers of some of the best computer engineering courses of the country were struggling with interview rounds, were struggling with communication. When asked questions and ideas of what do you think, how will you solve this problem, they had no solutions and answers for this. So what we realized was that while academic scores and outcomes are important, what is going to be required in the future is going to be your ability to create solutions for real life challenges. Innovation does not mean invention, right? The expectation is not that any of us will become directly innovators, but innovation is the ability to create solutions which can be executed in real life context to different problems that emerge. So whether you're choosing to be a sports person, an artist, a basketball team player, an entrepreneur, a computer engineer, a musician, you're going to have to solve problems within your organizations, within your work, within your house, within your community every single time. And the world rewards children or people who can create solutions, who have the mindset to create solutions, right? So if you look at some of the most successful people in any category, they are good solution creators. And that solution creators sometimes could just be on field as a football team captain. How do I ensure that my team is motivated together, right? That's also a solution creator mindset. So when we talk about innovation, one thing that is very important to realize, that innovation doesn't happen by chance, right? By an apple falling down from the tree. Innovation happens as a deliberate skill. The apple falling down was just the trigger. There was a lot of homework, there was a lot of frameworks built in their heads before to connect the apple falling down to an innovation, right? So an innovation doesn't need to happen by chance, but by choice, by the ability to, you can, it's a learnable skill, right? It's a skill that you can acquire. And different situations of our life require us to solve problems in different ways. And therefore, across the world, I did a lot of courses at Harvard Graduate School of Education. I learned a lot of techniques taught at Stanford EDU. These are some of the best universities from across the globe. And here we learned, and of course, we interacted with a lot of corporate innovation heads from across the countries, from corporates. There are so many innovation heads of different companies on our mentorship board. And all of them introduced us to different innovation frameworks. These are innovation techniques, right? So, and when you learn these techniques, given a problem tomorrow, you know how to solve them. So your future is going to demand that you have such skills, not when you become 23 or 40, but beginning today. The most important skills of life develop in the foundational years of schooling. And if you can begin to be that change maker, that solution creator beginning today, be rest assured you're going to have an amazing future, because those are the skills the world is going to reward even more. And now the World Economic Forum reports, the employability reports, if you look at future college application criterias, job criterias, innovation criterias, investor criterias, they're all looking for this. And that's the vision we set out. How do we empower children at your age as a whole school approach, systematically year on year, to develop these skills? Okay. Team, can you for some time just stop the chat, please? Because it's just being a distraction for everyone. Students, can we also stop chatting from some time so that we can focus on these skills? So, what is Innoventure all about and how does it help you, right? I'm assuming all of you all, if you all have if you all have got this message from the school, you must have also received a login ID and a password from the school to log into the Innoventure platform. So I'm just going to talk about the process for a minute and then also show you what you're going to be really doing. Okay. So give me a thumbs up if you have received your Innoventure login and password from your school, right? And by the way, after this live session, if you're parents or children watching this, don't forget to send a thank you message to your class teacher, school teacher, subject teacher, school leader, principal from your ERP for giving you all this opportunity, because it's an amazing opportunity that you all are getting access to. And that wouldn't happen without the support of your school. So a grateful heart always gets the best support, right? So don't forget to express that gratitude to your school leader, class teacher, anyone. Okay. So once all of you all have gotten your, I'm going to share my screen. And then we're going to talk about the innovation frameworks also, but I'm going to share a little about how you're going to complete your innovation courses, what's in it for them, and then take on some fun idea generation techniques. Is that okay? So let's go. So if you all have gotten your password, if you all have not gotten, please make sure you've asked your school leader for your login ID password. It's unique for every child, right? So you have to go to innoventureworld.com, or if you've got a slip, you can simply scan the slip. It'll take you to the same website, which is innoventureworld.com. If you're logging it from the phone, you'll have to see it in the menu button. If you're logging it from your laptops, you'll see this login dashboard login. Click here. You do not need to register separately as a child. You must have got an Innoventure code, that is your student ID. So for the first time, you need to use your Innoventure ID. Once you verify your email ID, you can use your email ID or student ID to log in. So at the moment, since my sample account is already verified, I'm going to use the email ID. To begin with, everyone's email password is set to 123456 and logged in, and you can change them ahead, right? Now, this is a sample login of a grade 5 child. So you will see a lot of things, including courses. For you, if you're logging for the first time, you will see 0% completed, but you will see your age appropriate course here. Okay. You need to log in. But before this step, you will have to, it'll ask you to verify your email ID so that it can send you access to these things. When you verify your email ID, it will send an email on your, on the email ID you've put there to verify. And you'll have to go to that email ID, whether it's in your father's account, mama's account, or your school account. Go to that, whatever email ID you put in, go to that and just verify. It will take you straight to this login. And if you ever want to re-log in, you can always go to innoventureworld.com and log in and then see the course. Okay. I'm just going to open the course here again, and you will see all your content. So you'll see the course instructions that you could read through. And then you, depending on your grade, you will see different innovation keys. Now, this is made very interesting. Instead of having text and children having to read, we used video methodology. And again, this is using a case study methodology, which was created at Harvard University, of why don't we give different children or people situations. So they're like stories, right? A specific situation or story. And through that story, teach children about a certain framework. Okay. So for example, this is for grade 5, and they have a technique called forced connections. And you have a video module that you can go through.
The ticket drop. India's railway network is one of the largest and busiest in the world. Over 23 million passengers travel every single day. But there was a big problem. Millions of people were traveling without buying tickets. This not only caused massive revenue loss, but made it harder to manage passenger safety and services.
So
Official
you will get to see a lot of such stories, and through the stories, you will learn the keys. Once you go through the video to the next chapter, you will find an assessment, which is a quick understanding of whether you've really understood what was in the video or not. You can answer them, right? And if you've answered them, it will also show you your, after you've completed and submitted, it will also show you what were right, what were wrong, all of these below. So you can keep answering all of them. This is already done. And then you can go to the next video episode, the next video episode. The next section will show you another technique called Scamper. So it's different for different grades, but that's how you do it. Once you complete the course, you will say, hey, cool. So you can also download your certificate. This is an important one because it's a innovation skill mastery certificate. So you will get to see your certificate like this, and you can download it and verify it. Okay. So this is how you can complete the course. The course is made in a fun way. You have to ensure that you complete it, and you can learn the things. It will not take a lot of time if you do it. For children who are much younger, like in grade 1, 2, or 3, if at all required, you can take your parents' assistance to read through the questions or so on. But it's easily done and it's a fun way. So how many of you all have completed the course? Show me a thumbs up or write how you enjoyed the course. Is the chat on? I think the chat is disabled now. Team, can we enable the chat for a moment? So that's the first phase of Innoventure. Okay. So while they enable the chat, once they've enabled the chat, you can talk about whether you enjoyed the course, whether you've completed the course, what did you like. They're different for different grades. Now, let me give you a little insight about Innoventure, and then we jump on to innovation techniques. Okay, thank you, Pooja, Nirmatupal. Okay, done 1 year. It's fantastic. Okay, there are some who are doing it for the second time. Wonderful. Okay. Now let's go on to. So the Inventure Initiative is about empowering a lot of children across India uh, to ensure that every child across the country, no matter which school, which board, whether you're from the IB board, ICSE, CBSE, state government, any board, it should be equal access to good quality stuff, right? Uh, and this is for all the children across grade 1 to 9. I'm going to skip this. Now, why is this so important? Typically, and for a long period of time, people confused innovation to invention or innovation activities to STEM or STEAM activities, right? So is it robotics? Is it ICT? Is it some kit? No, innovation is not about this, right? If you look at the innovation pyramid, the most basic underlying layer is first having the innovation skills and techniques of looking at a problem and creating a solution, right? Because the first good skill of a great entrepreneur, inventor, creator, leader is to be able to identify a problem, right? Is to care about finding a problem. So a few years ago, there was a problem statement about the indiscriminate usage of horn. How many of you all at some point have got irritated with the idea that someone kept honking? Right? It's annoying, right? And why do people honk so much even when it's not necessary? Because it's free, right? Now, we gave this problem statement to some years ago to grade 9 or grade 8. And we said, how do we solve? Because 80% of noise pollution in is because of vehicular noise and horns, right? And that's when you realize, oh, that is a problem that we've all experienced. But do we define it to create a solution? And children came up with some amazing ideas which could be implemented in real life by the government, by companies, by policies, any of these. So the first step is to be able to identify a problem and start thinking about a solution. Once you have an idea, a solution, then you use the tools, whether you create an reel, whether you make a robotics kit, whether you make a drawing, whether you make an art project, whatever you do around it, those are all tools to curate and create an idea, a prototype of an idea, uh, to build a solution. But before that, you need how to come up with ideas. You need the process of thinking critically. You need the process of design thinking. You need the processes of the innovation mindset, and that's the foundation. At higher education, you already start going through the incubation process, which is what is required to actually execute the idea in real life, whether it's about funding or doing a sample or pilot or any of these. So the foundation is where Innoventure works on building that skill set for you, because we have so many children saying we have fantastic ideas, or college students saying, oh, I'm a topper, but they don't have any problem to solve. They don't have ideas of what to create startups for or any of these things, right? So that's the kind we want to build with all of y'all. And therefore, it's a whole school approach, because you learn about this year on year, every year, and it becomes your way of thinking. That becomes your way of being and looking at the world, right? Over the last many years, we have had some of the best uh, entrepreneurs and CEOs and leadership expert like Ganesh Natarajan, who's at the State Bank of India's chairman, or the Reliance Industries innovation head, or Amdocs innovation head, or Pfizer innovation heads coming and hosting master classes for you as a part of the different rounds. So you get to interact with all these people online, and if you're selected till the finale, even finale at that time. We also last year had the Chief Innovation Officer of the country, Dr. Abhay Jire, coming to meet all the children, give away the awards, and so on. So everyone, whether it's people from the government, the companies, corporates, everyone realizes that this is important and that every child should develop this. Last year, we had about 128,000 children who benefited from this. And I hope some of you all are from last year continuing to benefit. So what are the stages of innovation? The first is the Innovation Framework Course. So all those who have got your login ID passwords, I'm just going to recap quickly. You'll need to go to innoventureworld.com, log in with your student ID password, set it up, open it, verify your email ID, and go ahead. And to complete the course, download your certificate. Don't forget to do that. The last date to do all of that, I believe, is 15 September. So please make sure you download your certificates completed before 15 September. Once that is done, all your schools are going to be hosting, whether you complete the course or not. But if you complete the course, you get your certificates, plus you have an idea of what kind of questions may be asked. Of course, there are additional material available beginning next week in your logins, or this weekend in your logins, which you can also access and use if required. But you have a creative thinking challenge, which is a whole school approach, which will happen in school. Okay, you all will be sent questions, papers. So if you'll complete the course, it's great because you'll get your certificates and prepare. But even though if you've not completed it, the challenge will happen in your school, uh, or as a paper-based thing in the month of October sometime, by the date selected by your school, where you will be asked innovation application-based questions based on the frameworks and otherwise, not just on the two techniques, but it could be generic otherwise as well on how you can do innovation application plus in the preparation material. So that is the challenge. It's free for all children across the country. Again, you need to go through it, and if you're among the top, if you're not necessarily of the top ones, but if you do your challenge really well, you get selected for the second round, which is the interview round, for which you're asked open-ended questions. It's very interesting. It's like real life, and it does not. Any of the rounds don't expect you to learn up anything like an school exam or an Olympiad. No, it is about how you think, how you prepare. Of course, the more well you prepare, even on how to think, the better you're equipped to answer the questions. But there's nothing like ratta marna. No rote learning is expected from you of any topic on anything. And the finale is the jury round, where the selected children are given some problem statements and you have to create solutions to real life things and present it to the judges. We've spoken about this, that going in the future, creativity and critical thinking are going to be the most important skills for life, for jobs, for startups, for anything, right? So in the course, different students are getting different access. One, we talked about how it's through the video style, small episodes and assessments and innovation frameworks. And these are some of the innovation frameworks taught to all. So for example, a grade 1 will have a simple technique like combination, key, and divergent thinking, while a grade 9 is introduced to systems thinking and modular innovation. And trust me, these are some of the best world-class innovation frameworks taught at major companies. Like we have so many parents emailing us that it's amazing, I'm the CEO, and today at this phase we're learning about systems thinking. We're talking about Elon Musk. We hear Elon Musk talking about first principles thinking, and these are things that taught to children through these video modules. It's so amazing. So please know that what you're going introduced to is world class, and therefore I say do express gratitude to your school. It works magic. It reinforces and tells them, okay, that our students want it, our children want it, and we should continue doing it. Otherwise, if you don't complete it, it's discouraging for the school leaders also, that our children are not doing it. What's the point of giving them access if they don't value it? So understand what you're getting access to is world class, and you're getting it free because of your school. Do take a minute today to send them a message over ERP or any WhatsApp group or emailer, right? It goes a long way always. And your teachers and school will always remember that you wrote an email thanking them. Maybe you will just get more support to work on this. After you complete the round 1, you get your certificates, you get your national rankings, you get your individual scores, and you also get feedback, different parameters of how you're progressing, recommendations of how you can become better. Now, these are very important, and each level will give you different certificates, different rankings, school, national, state. These are extremely important for real life also to know. So it's building your skills portfolio to be able to tell the world, because otherwise you cannot, especially in the future, talk about all these skills without having any evidence, right? These reports give evidence that you're good at these skills, and this is how you stand, and it'll also give you ways of how you can do. So there are different parameters for each round, and extremely interesting, fun, but thought-provoking, right, that you have to do. These are some problem statements children this last year worked on as per different grades and different ones. A lot of the students have gone on to win, like Satyaj Hirao from City Pride School actually won the Innoventure, worked out the ideas through the Trailblazer Fellowship. We mentored him. He then presented the idea at the CNBC TV. Skill India was the Western India winner and nationally third, competing with children, even like 10th, 11th, 12th graders, and still coming there. So many of our students, like for example, this ninth grader girl, it was a problem statement of how do you help blind people cook, and she came up with some great ideas. It was applauded. Our children have been gone to go on podcasts, like our winners were invited on different podcasts by like this is an example from Pooja Misal. She's part of the government of Maharashtra now. This year the winners will be invited on podcast which is run under MESC and Skill India. They're going to be student documentaries, not necessarily they have to be winners. So winners will be invited on podcast, but there are also documentaries. So you might be from a very simple school or high-end school or whatever school it is. And even if you don't win, if your journey is inspiring, there may be a documentary made on your journey, on your thoughts and ideas. So it's a very exciting time. There are a lot of magazine features. Our children, our mentors have so many times jury members have helped connect students to different people. They have invited these students to the TEDx. So many of our students have spoken on TEDx. Many of them have also gone on to work on their ideas, receive Rashtriya Bal Puraskar. The older ones over the years also have done their patents. So there are so many possibilities that open up if you're part of the Innoventure ecosystem, because you keep getting updates. This year, we also took in applications for the Rashtriya Bal Puraskar and sent it ahead. So a lot of interesting things are happening when you're a part of it, and when you continue to consistently do a part of it, right? This is some feedback from different years on what are the skills children worked on, how do they think their confidence developed, their creative thinking developed, their belief in themselves. What do they think they developed through this whole experience, and do they wish to do that again, right? And this is not about winning or losing. It is how you're evolving every year as a journey. Like I said last year, Dr. Abhay Jire, the chief innovation officer of the country, was there to give to award and honor all the children and so on. Of course, a lot of media covers, because the world wants to celebrate and cheer for children making change, right? It's so easier when you're young. It's not a drawback. It's a plus point that you all are children doing something great. So the media loves to cover children who are doing great. The newspapers want to cover. There were so many newspapers that covered students. Like in Gujarat, there was a school do that. We can skip this slide. Yeah. And of course, since the Skill India, MESC, Education World, there are a lot of magazines that will be featuring the schools and so on, right? So I hope you have a whole vision of the Innoventure Challenge. I want you all to prepare really well, do the course. If you feel this is interesting, go ahead and take up the other material. Prepare yourself, because the opportunities that will open up to you are going to be amazing, right? So don't miss this opportunity. The course is free for you all. The round one is free for you all to begin, but prepare for it well, because it's not difficult, but preparation always meets luck to do great things, right? And the world is the oyster. Because the moment you're part of this Innoventure ecosystem, a lot of opportunities open for you, right? So take the efforts to do that. Now, if all that is clear, if any of you have questions when you've logged in and so on, if you've already had your username, password, verified your email ID and so on, if you have any questions ever, there's a support button in your login, a support feature, raise ticket. Please do that. If you have any queries, put it in there. The team tries to answer the support queries and help you all with it, right? Else you can always go to your school teacher and ask for help. Is that okay? Now, coming back to the last part of it, which is where we're going to spend our next 15-20 minutes, is on innovation frameworks. Okay. And I'm going to share some fun techniques with y'all. which is about how to come up with ideas. Okay, and I'm going to love to see some of your ideas in the chat when we begin it. Okay, so uh, let's talk about, and this is irrespective of the age. Some of the idea looks simple. I'm going to take simpler techniques today so that every age group can relate to it. But remember, because a technique is simple doesn't mean it's less powerful. At Harvard, they used to tell us a very simple thing, that the power of a process lies in its simplicity, which means the more simple a technique for innovation, the more powerful it becomes, because maximum people can use it at maximum times in maximum places, right? So I'm going to do the first one, and this is called uh, forced connections. Okay. Now, what is forced connections? Or let's take another one, commonality key. Okay. Now, this is a fun way where you have to try to find common things between two unrelated things. Okay. Things which are not at all in common, but you have to try and find commonalities in it. And then we'll talk about where it's important in real life. So, for example, can you tell me what's common between a tooth and a teacher? Okay, take a minute and put it in the chat. What do you think is common between a tooth and a teacher? Is there something directly common? No. But if you think about it, you can find some funny, interesting, thoughtful stuff. What's common between them? We asked this question even in the interview round some years ago to some maybe a fourth, fifth grader. And it was so much fun to see the different answers. Team, is the chat open for everyone? What's common between a tooth and a teacher? Okay. Okay, you might say both start with T if you're in kindergarten, yes. But both help us, like the tooth helps us chew food, teachers help us chew knowledge. Or someone said funny, both are very sharp, right? The teacher and the tooth both can be very sharp. They both can hurt us sometimes, right? So you might say funny things, you might say thoughtful things, or simple things. Now let's take a slightly more mature thing. What's common? Team, can I check if the live chat is is open, because I don't see any chats coming in. Okay, lovely. So I can see some responses. Superb. Okay, now I'm going to ask you for some commonalities between what's common between a hoarding board and a mouse trap. A hoarding board that you see on the roadside and a mouse trap. And you might say both can be deceiving, right? The mouse trap unknowingly, cunningly traps the mouse, and the hoarding board makes us unknowingly believe in buying the product, right? So while they're not directly common, you can find commonalities from it, right? Absolutely. Wonderful ideas and answers. Superb. Superb. You all are getting the hang of it. Now I'll give you a real life application of this is where it's in real life. Many years ago, NASA had a problem. And this was when the space first lander was being built. Okay. And they had the best engineers, the best astronauts, the best designers, but they had a problem. They didn't know what is the kind of surface the lander will land on. Will it be a rocky terrain? Will it be sandy? Will it be curvy? Will it be uneven? Will it have rolling stones? They didn't know what it would be. So it's an uneven terrain which they don't know about. So how do we design a lander, right? Of course, now today all of us know what a lander looks like and how it lands, right? But that time they didn't couldn't visualize, so they struggled for a very long time on how do we design the lander. Should it be having wheels? Should it be having fixed legs? Should it be having inflatable, thing which you can just bump and land on? They didn't know about it. They were struggling. Then they just shifted the question and they said, okay, let's find some commonality. Okay, what is common or what else walks on any kind of surface, right? What's the commonality that we can draw from? So they asked, what else walks on any kind of surface? And that's when they realized insects, right? A cockroach, an ant, they walk on any type of surfaces. And that's when they studied insects. So the commonality was drawn from insects and a spacecraft design. They studied them and then they said, okay, maybe we should have this kind of leg movement structure where it can balance even on uneven surfaces, right? Absolutely brilliant. So a lot of y'all are getting the answers. Similarly, when Mercedes Benz, now this is a design solution for some of the most important problems of the world, right? You might say, where is its application in creative writing, in designing, in language, and so on? So Mercedes Benz some years ago won the best ad award, and this ad was for Mother's Day. Okay, and it won the best print ad, newspaper ad award. And what was the ad? Okay, it was a Mother's Day ad by Mercedes Benz, and the ad was very simple, a full front page ad which said, the world's second best place, the world's second safest place salutes the first. And then it was shown just the outline of a pregnant woman's tummy, a mother's womb. Okay. Now, what did that mean? What did that mean? It was so simply saying, beautifully saying that the mother's tummy, okay, a mother's womb is the safest place for any child in the world, right? And the second safest place is Mercedes Benz and its safety features, right? But it's so simply found commonality between what are the values or what are the qualities of a mother and the qualities of Mercedes Benz. And they wrote down all these things, okay, that Mercedes Benz is luxury, safety, world class speed, engine. Mother's Day, mothers, you feel safe, love, always protected. And they said, okay, there's a commonality here. Why don't we combine them to make an ad, right? Now, that's how even metaphors are created, right? Where you say her hair, or a simile, her hair were like a flowing river, right? So the best creative articulation also start from commonality key. The best designs can also come from commonality key. The best ideas, speeches, stories, analogies can also come from commonality key. It's such a simple technique where you try to find, you force yourself to find common things between two unrelated things, whether in terms of design, in terms of qualities, in terms of feelings you feel for those two objects, or their uses, their functionalities, and you can come up with new innovations. Isn't that a brilliant process to think of innovation? Yes? Show me a thumbs up if you agree with that. I'd love to see some engagement. And then I'm going to take one more because in your courses, as per your grade, you're going to get access to a lot of such beautiful innovation frameworks through stories, examples, understand them, and also do the assessment. Okay. Thank you, everyone. I can see a lot of thumbs up coming up. Superb. Right. We're going to do one more technique. And this is again a story that we have shared in maybe some of the higher grades. And this is the story. Actually, I'll give you another example. Okay. In Mongolia, okay, you know where Mongolia is between China and Russia? Now, Mongolia is not a very famous country, nor is it very touristic. Do you know why? Because it has a lot of uneven mountain terrain. Okay. Now, because of that, Access road transport to most of the places in Mongolia is very, very difficult, okay, within the country. Now, that created a unique problem, okay. Healthcare was not easily available to people staying at different parts of the country because it was not possible to build hospitals everywhere in the mountains and so on and so forth. And if doctors had to go, if someone had to come to the hospitals in the main cities, it was far away, it was time consuming. So people were dying of simple things, a flu, a jaundice, typhoid, a diarrhea, maybe just an insect bite, an infection, because timely medicines were also not reaching them. Now they had a problem and they said, how do we solve this? Okay. So one option was go and build hospitals or clinics or small centers in a lot of places. That was the first option. But do you think it's cheap to do that? No, it's very expensive, right? And it's also time consuming. If they decide to build a clinic or a hospital now, it'll take 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, correct? Then they said, oh, even if we build hospitals, how are we going to keep sending doctors there and medicines there? And they realized, oh, this is a bad idea. We can't really use this. So then they said, oh, maybe we should have mobile ambulances and hospitals, okay, and keep sending them at different places from time to time so that people can have access. Now they did that, and doctors started falling ill. If they covered one area, by the time they went to another area, someone in that area was dying, someone had a problem there. So this didn't look like it looked like a temporary solution, but not a permanent solution. How many doctors and how many camps and how many mobile ambulances and hospitals would they do, right? So they had a real problem. Now they flipped the process. They said, what is the process? People get a disease, people fall sick, they have to come to the hospital, they have to reach out to the doctor. Why don't we flip this process? Isko ulta kyun nahi kar dete, right? Instead, and most of them were not dying because of large illnesses, but everyday things which were preventable, which were avoidable, which could be healed easily. It's just that access to medicines or information was not available at that time. So they flipped the process. They said, instead of the problem coming, why don't we prevent it? Okay. So they started doing a lot of prevention campaigns first, where they said, okay, we're going to send so many vaccines to one place and get everyone vaccinated. So half the problem is done, right? Now that level of problem was solved. But there is second problem because of this fever, typhoid, jaundice, small issues, illnesses were coming. So they said, okay, let's hear it. Instead of the people coming to the doctor, why don't we make these medicines and the standard solutions available as kits in the local villages itself? So what they did, they made kits, okay, which had fever and a whole description of different types of fevers and what is the recommended medicine and a medicine kit with that. Jaundice, what are the stages, what are the symptoms for each symptom, what are the medicines, and the medicines. Snake bite, all these options. And they made a huge list like that. And this was some years ago, so they didn't have Chat GPT and Google and all of that to give them answers. But they made a whole list of that, and for every problem, they wrote down what are the possible medicines, and they made that whole list and sent one big kit to every small village in different areas. One time with supply of at least 6 months that village population might require. Now, what happened as a result? Instead of them coming to doctors, they could, at least for smaller problems, self heal themselves, right? They could look at the problem, they could ask for that medicine from the local one and take it. No more were medicines being sent to them on a daily basis, weekly basis, people going to medicine shops and asking for it or wondering what solution should be used, right? So, this was some years ago when advanced technology was not available. It was the most successful idea that they did, that instead of them falling sick and then coming to the doctors, they already sent the doctor's advice to them in kits in every village. And so many, there was a 50% reduction in people dying due to illness. This is a big thing. Imagine 100 people village and 50 people are dying every 2 years because of illnesses. That's a big thing, right? That started reducing drastically. So it was a big leap and things changed. Why? Because they changed the process. So this is called process reorganization, or flipping the whole process of how the problem should be solved. Do we wait till the problem arises, or do we ask the doctors to go to them, or them to get to the doctors, or send do not the doctor, don't let the doctor travel, don't let the patient travel, send the doctor's intelligence, the advice early on as per the requirements to the people, right? Now this is important, and this happens in so many places, right? For example, let me tell you a real life another example, and then you all could tell me before we conclude into about 5 minutes, okay? If you had a problem, okay, that um, people throw garbage anywhere, right, in India, right? So for example, okay, let me give you a new problem. If I told you and you tell me what the solution for this would be, people throw garbage on the roadside, right? Now there are dustbins in most places, but the real problem, you don't know where the dustbin is. You're eating it right now here. Now, is the dustbin 5 shops away to your left or to your right? Or where is the dustbin going to be? You don't know. So what do? Nom, 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 and throw it down, right? Isn't that a real problem, right? Some people are just lazy. They throw the dustbin, they throw the scrap anywhere. And sometimes you really don't know where it is, right? So what could be a solution to this? Okay, I hope the chat is on. I'd love to see some answers. What could be a solution to this? And there could be many ways of solving this problem. People throwing garbage on the road. Okay, dustbin outside each shop. Find them portable trash cans, roadside dustbins, putting boards, giving direction of the dustbin. Okay. Okay, I can see a lot of interesting ideas coming up. Wow. Okay, I'm going to tell you an idea which is come up by a student itself, okay, who had won an award in Innoventure some years ago. This was many years ago, okay. And he said, why most people throw dust garbage in the not in the dustbin is because there's no benefit for them, right? It's easier to just throw it anywhere. It's easier not to take the effort to see where is the next dustbin, right? And go there and put it. So you give people some award, some reward, some incentive, some motivation of why they should put it in the dustbin. And he said we should have incentive bins. What are incentive bins? That every time you throw some kgs of or some dustbin, some amount of weight of garbage in the dustbin, you get some small coupons there, which are some discount coupons or a free eraser or just a small something, whatever, small, big, depending on how much garbage they're putting in from the closest local shops. Okay, now this was a beautiful idea. Why? Three problems solved. One, people started throwing the garbage in the dustbin because they know they're going to get some free thing or maybe some discount of the surrounding shops only. Now surrounding shopkeepers were also happy to have these dustbins close to them, because if I say, okay, you are going to get a free, assuming a free eraser from the stationery shop, will you go into the stationery shop to get the eraser? Yes, you are going to. Okay, so they tied up with the local shopkeepers. But when you go to see the eraser, maybe you'll also want to think of buying a pencil, a sharpener, or a compass box and something. Or someone said, okay, 10 rupees off on this sandwich So someone went to the restaurant. Now they just didn't buy the sandwich. They got a 10 rupees off on a 40 rupees sandwich, but you also got more business. So people were happy. Shopkeepers were happy. Otherwise, no one likes dustbins near their area. But they made nice dustbins. Now there was another problem. There were people who said, we don't care about this. But there were also street people who cared about that free vada pav, that one eraser. They started collecting other people's, the street children, the poor people. They started collecting all the garbage and putting it into the dustbin such that they could get those awards. So now you're changing behavior, right? And because you're changing behavior and putting a reward to it, you flip the process. Instead of throwing garbage being an effort, a pain for people, you're making it like a celebration. You're getting a reward for it. You're honoring them. And that's how this is a pilot worked very, very well. Okay. Of course, whether it's applicable, not applicable, all of that is a different story. But the first is to coming up with ideas. Okay. So the point of the process is every problem that you see around from today requires you to be the solution creator. And I would want to encourage all of you all to look at problems around you and say, okay, how do I solve this? Right now, don't think whether it's a practical solution or not a practical solution or how we'll implement it. Just think of a solution, right? And using your innovation keys and techniques that you'll learn, you will learn different approaches and then start using them in real life. And every time you go through a process, whether it's the course, the round one challenge, the interview round, you will learn such amazing processes, techniques, ideas, ways of thinking and being that you will not even know over that duration and through all the material that you're learning, the preparation material, the material, all of that you will be taking it or you can take in, you will not even realize how your mind is slowly expanding to ideas. I have known that children who have done this process, maybe in 1 year, some of them are doing it every year since they are in third, fourth, fifth, sixth, right up to when they're ninth. By the time they come, they've realized and said, ma'am, by the time we didn't even realize how slowly our mindset was changing. But now we realize when I meet children or friends from other schools or friends who have not done this, how differently I think, right? So it's not just the awards, the rewards, the medals, the features, the people you will meet, but how your thinking will change and how you'll develop these skills of looking at problems. You will start really emerging as a solution creator, leader, an innovator, an entrepreneur for life. And that's my vision and wish for all of you, right? That each of you all do this. So I'm super excited. Please go ahead. I look forward to seeing you in the Innovation Initiative. Complete your free course, make the most of it, download your certificates, prepare well for round one. I want all of you all to be able to get the opportunity for every phase ahead. And the best part is you don't have to mug up anything. So you don't have to worry about it. Just participate fully. It'll be a fun learning journey. Discuss it with your parents, with your friends around, because these are something which is applicable to everyone. So if you're a parent listening to this, go ahead and discuss it with your children and make the most of it. And I look forward to seeing you in many interactions scheduled ahead. It'll be wonderful for all of you. I wish you all the best for life. Keep looking at problems as opportunities to solve and keep that thinking cap on. On that note, thank you so much. If you'll have any queries, please check out in your support section, in your logins. If you haven't got your logins and passwords, please reach out to your school leader and ask them to help you. And for those who have completed the course, are doing the course, don't forget to send a thank you note to your school leaders. It really means a lot to them to know that. So please do that. And for those who'd like to keep connected with us, don't forget, if you're our parents, to follow us on the Innoventure platform Instagram channel. You'll find a lot of stuff there. You can take a screenshot of the session that you're attending right now. Tag us there. Share your feedbacks there with tagging us, and we'd love to share it ahead. The more you all are involved, the more we hear from you through Instagram, through tags, through posts, through emails. The more we know, and the more we know your journeys, the more we can document, record it, invite you all for the documentaries. So go ahead and share in all the love, the ideas, the inspirations, what you have learned. Tag us there, share what you've learned. Take a screenshot, tag us on the Innoventure platform page. It'll be wonderful. Tag your school, thank them. A grateful heart, a thankful heart, and a heart that is open to learning, and a mind that is open to learning is the most primed for doing great things in life. And that's what I wish for you, all of you. Thank you so much. Have a great day. I'll see you soon. Bye bye. Thank you so much.